Today we will discuss about diffraction and polarization given in chapter 10 of physics for class 12. CBSE during this year, that is academic year 2020-21, has deleted some of the topics like polarization, Polaroid, Malus law, Brewster's law and others from the syllabus of CBSE board. However, we have covered these topics in this session so that it is helpful for those students who are taking up boards examination and competitive examination. I welcome you all for this session. Please note down all the important points that are applicable for your class 12 examinations. Welcome you all. When waves encounter an edge or an obstacle or an aperture with a size comparable to the wavelength of the waves, those waves spread out as they travel, and as a result they undergo an interference. This is called diffraction. Please see the diagrams on the right hand side. Here in this diagram on the left side, S is a source and waves are traveling from S to the screen. This is screen, and there is in between a slit. Light passes through slit and falls on the screen, but beyond this bright spot there are darker spots. In between the two there is a region XY in the gray color. This is called region of diffraction. This is happening due to diffraction at the corners of the slit. Similarly, diffraction can also happen due to an obstacle. Here the red color is an obstacle. When the light falls on it, there is a dark region beyond the obstacle. Hence, in between the dark and bright region there is a gray region, and this is called diffraction at obstacle. Single slit diffraction. Waves passing through a long narrow slit of width A produce on a viewing screen a single slit diffraction pattern consisting of a central maxima and a minima and adjacent maximas. That means there will be alternate bright spots, bright fringes and dark fringes. Please see the diagram here. A parallel light from S fall on the slit. This is L and M is a slit. Instead, the light traveling parallel will directly go and fall on the screen. Here the central maxima will be produced, but the diffracted light will be inclined at an angle theta and it will go to a point P as shown in the diagram. This is a single slit diffraction, that is, the diffraction is taking place at the edges of the slit at an angle theta. To analyze the effect of diffraction, we will consider three cases. From the figure, there is a path difference. Consider the ray at the uppermost emanating at an angle theta from the edge L, and this is incident at an angle to the horizontal here, and the ray from N also is inclined at theta and directed towards P. Because of the distance, the difference in the distance and opening of the slit, there is a delay from this ray N, and it is called, this is a path difference. NQ is a path difference. LN is the slit, width of the slit, and NQ is the delay or path difference. Similarly, we can consider instead of L and N, we can consider two more points M and M2, which is in between the central point M. The ray from M goes directly to the C. So, M2P, there will be another ray from M2 to P and M1 to P. So, these M2P minus M1P will be equal to Y theta. If you take this as an angle theta here, the opposite side is A sin theta. If L and N is A and angle is theta, this distance opposite side will be A sin theta. For a small angle of theta, this will be A theta, as shown in this equation. Therefore, NP minus LP equals NQ equals A sin theta, that is equal to A theta, equation 1. There are three cases due to variation of theta and phase difference or path difference. Case number 1. In case number 1, the rays are going directly to the C, to the point C on the screen. Here there is a screen and the C is on the screen, it goes to the point C. See, when theta equal to 0. Here there is a theta inclined rays are subtending an angle theta, whereas the rays going directly to the screen are angle forming angle 0, and path difference here, this path difference will be 0 because the rays are going straight to C, and hence all the rays are converging at C, and the intensity of light is maximum at C, and that is called central maximum because of angle 0 and path difference also 0. Let us take case number 2. In the case number 2, this NQ will be is equal to N lambda, that is theta will be is equal to A theta, this A theta will be is equal to N lambda, or path difference A theta will be equal to lambda and I will be equal to 0. This is called secondary maxima. Secondary maxima will be just next to the central maxima. So, here in case 2, theta will be is equal to n lambda by A and path difference is lambda, and that is called secondary minimum. This next to central maximum will be secondary minimum, and that will be called dark fringe. In the next slide, we will see the figures in detail. Then let us consider a case number 3, when theta is equal to, this theta is equal to n plus half of lambda, that is multiples of half lambda divided by A. Therefore, path difference here, path difference NQ will be is equal to 3 lambda by 2. Here the I is weaker, it is not as strong as the central maximum, but still it will be secondary maxima. Let us study the phenomena of diffraction in detail in the next section. Consider a wavefront. This is green colored is a wavefront falling on the screen, the slit, not on the screen, slit Ln. So, this Ln is divided into 12 parts. That means we are considering 12 rays. 12 rays here, the slit here, and first if there is no inclination in the case 1, when theta is equal to 0, all rays will go and fall on the screen here. The C is the central part of the screen, all rays will go and converge, they will converge on C, and a bright spot is formed at C, that is center of the screen, and here central maxima will occur, and there will be I will be maximum, and there will be brightness. Then in the next case, we divide this section L into two parts, such that NQ here will be equal to lambda. That means the upper part, that is 0 to 8, array number 0 to 8 will be lambda by 2, and 9 to 12 will be lambda by 2. That means this slit is divided into two parts. When the two parts happen, light rays from the upper part are out of phase with the lower part, that is 180 degrees shift between the two rays. Hence, each component gets cancelled and they converge at a dark point. Though these are not shown in figure, you please imagine in the case number 2, when the slit is divided into two parts, the rays 0 to 8 will converge at P1, and similar gets cancelled, and the remaining part converge, and dark spots are formed here. There is a darkness at P1. Similarly, in the case number 3, the slit is divided into three parts as is shown in this figure. This figure is for dividing the slit into three parts, that is 0 to 4 one part, 4 to 8 one part, and 8 to 12 third part. So, 0 to 4 will be, the path difference will be lambda by 2, and 4 to 8 will be, it is a larger than 4 and it will be lambda, and 12 to q will be 3 lambda by 2. So, in this figure we are dividing the slit into three parts, 0 to 4, 4 to 8 and 8 to 12, and the part differences are lambda by 2, lambda and 1.5 lambda, and these converge in such a way that they meet at a point P2 which is secondary bright. This is secondary bright, but what happens actually, the rays which are going from 0 to 4 get cancelled with 4 to 8, and only 8 to 4 will be contributing for the feeble brightness at P2. So, these cases are repeated here once again. When theta is equal to 0, that means this green wavefront is in line with L line, in a straight line, angle theta is 0 and the rays will go and converge at bright. Therefore, path difference is 0. This path difference will be 0, and hence there will be central maxima at C, and it will be the brightest, and there is no division of slit in the case 1. In case number 2, the slit is divided into two parts, upper half and lower half, and theta will be equal to n lambda by a, that is n lambda means 1 lambda, this theta will be this n lambda by a, and path difference here will be equal to lambda. In the figure this is shown as 3 by lambda 2, this is third case, but in second case the diagram is not shown. The second case a theta will be equal to lambda. Therefore, intensity will be 0, because the upper half rays in the upper half gets cancelled with the lower half, and the intensity is 0. Hence, dark fringes are formed here at P1. Dark fringes are formed at P1. Here, as I said earlier, the slit is divided into two parts for the purpose of analysis. In the third part, the slit is divided into three sections, 0 to 4, 4 to 8 and 8 to 12, and here theta is 2n plus 1 lambda by 2a, that is multiples of half, 3 multiples of half the wavelength. So, it becomes, this path difference will be 3 lambda by 2, that is half plus half plus half, 3 and a half it becomes suppose n is 1, if n is equal to 1, it will be 3 by 2 lambda. So, this is 3 lambda by 2, that is n is equal to 1 in this equation, you get 3.5. Likewise, you can put for any number of n. Therefore, here secondary maxima will happen, that means the upper half 0 to 4 will gets cancelled with 4 to 8 and only lower half will be present and it meets converges at P2 and a secondary bright will form. It will be it will not be as bright as secondary central primary, central half, central maxima, but it will be feeble. Hence, here as I said earlier, for the purpose of analysis, we are dividing the slit into 3 parts. We see the figure, the picture taken at the screen. Here lights are falling parallel and this is the central maxima. So, see the intensity, this is the intensity of brightness maximum and width also you see there is so much wide. The central maxima is big in size and it is maximum amplitude, high intensity. And then immediately there is a dark spot. This dark spot P1, upper dark spot is here and lower dark spot is here. Dark spot. After dark spot and then the again bright spot occurs. This is secondary maxima. You see here amplitude is lower. Again it becomes the darker bigger and again it will be brighter. So, this will be a bright fringe followed by a dark fringe and a bright fringe, dark fringe, bright fringe. Alternately it will be there, but the sizes will be varying because of the angle of refraction. So, this is a viewing screen, this is a slit and these are the amplitude intensity and these are the rays. Single slit diffraction. The basic idea to divide the slit, whatever I said earlier will be repeated here and I will quickly read. The basic idea is to divide the slit into much smaller parts and add their contributions at P with proper phase differences. We are treating different parts of wavefront at the slit as secondary sources because of incoming wavefront is parallel to the plane of the slit. These sources are in phase. Brightest fringe at central point C on the screen, the angle theta is 0. All part differences are 0, hence all parts of the slit contribute in phase. This gives maximum intensity at C. Dark fringe. Now divide the slit into two equal halves LM and MN, each of size A by 2. For every point M1 in LM, there is a point M2 in MN such that M1 M2 is equal to A by 2. The path difference between M1 and M2 at P is equal to M2P minus M1P equals theta into A by 2, that is lambda by 2, that is multiples of half wavelength for angle chosen. This means the contributions from M1 and M2 are 180 degrees out of phase and cancel in the direction theta is equal to lambda by A. Contribution from two halves of the slit LM and MN therefore cancel each other. One can similarly show that intensity is 0 for theta is equal to n times lambda by A. That means we have analyzed for n equals 1, but it is true for any other integer for value of n where n is an integer except n equal to 0. So, the third case is for secondary bright fringe. Divide the slit into three equal parts. If we take the first 2/3 of the slit, the path difference between the two ends would be 2/3 of A theta, that is equal to 2A by 3 into 3 lambda by 2A, that is equal to lambda. The path difference between two ends will be lambda. The first 2/3 of the slit therefore be divided into two halves which have A lambda by 2 path difference. The contributions of these two halves cancel in the same manner as described earlier. Only the remaining 1/3 of the slit contributes to the intensity at a point between two minima. One can similarly show that there are maxima at n plus half into lambda by a with n is equal to 2, 3, etc. This is already I have explained with the help of figures in section 10.10. Now, let us derive the equation for width of central maxima, that is beta naught is equal to 2y. So, from the figure we know tan theta is equal to y by d. For smaller values of theta, theta will be equal to y by d. Similarly, a sin theta, if the path difference is a sin theta, that is equal to lambda. Therefore, for smaller values of theta, theta will be equal to lambda by a. Therefore, from this equation we can find out y is equal to lambda d by a. Therefore, because the width is the distance between the central maxima to the next central maxima, it becomes 2y, that is equal to 2 lambda d by a. Here a is the width of the slit, d is the distance between slit and the screen, and lambda is the wavelength of the incident wavefront, and y is the distance between central bright and the first dark fringe. Now, let us find out the difference between interference and diffraction. In section 10a, we studied about interference, and in this section, that is 10b, we have just studied diffraction. Let us tabulate the difference between the two phenomena. Interference is due to superposition of two waves from coherent sources. Please note, here two different coherent sources, whereas diffraction is due to superposition of secondary wavelets coming from different parts of the same wavefront. That is, wavelengths are getting emanated from the slit, that is it is getting superimposed. Interference, the fringe width is generally constant. Here the amplitude almost is constant, as we have seen in the previous section, but here fringes have the varying width. The width of fringes, as we have seen in the previous slide, width is varying. It is maximum for the central maxima and getting reduced for the other fringes. All maxima have the same intensity, that is, waveform is very constant and same intensity in interference. Whereas here you have just seen the maxima is varying, central has got maxima, secondary is having a lesser. As we move away from the central maxima, it diminishes. There is a good contrast between maxima and minima. There is a poor contrast between maxima and minima in diffraction. These are the main differences between interference and diffraction. Polarization. Polarization is not included in the syllabus of CBSE for the year 2020-21. However, I am covering it for the sake of students of state boards, where it is quite possible that polarization they must not have deleted from the syllabus, and so that it will be helpful for you. But I am quickly going through the theory of polarization in very brief terms. Light propagates as transverse electromagnetic wave. The magnitude of electric field is much larger as compared to the magnitude of magnetic field. The phenomena of restricting the electric vectors of light in single direction is called polarization. That means the light has got vectors in all directions, but if you restrict the light vectors in particular, either vertical or horizontal, then it is called polarization. Please see the figure. This is a point source of light, here natural light, and it has got vectors in all directions. This is horizontal, this is vertical in all directions. And if you take a another view, it has got the red indicating the horizontal component, and these are all indicating vertical components. That is, the blue colored lines are parallel to the plane and red are perpendicular to the plane, which are shown as dot. This is the representation of natural light. Natural light. Here, this is a wave with horizontal and vertical components. A plane containing the vibrations of polarized light is called plane of vibration. A plane perpendicular to the plane of vibrations is called plane of polarization. So, there are two planes, one is plane of vibration and another one is plane of polarization. Polarization can take place only in the transverse waves. Here, please see the figure here. This component, unpolarized light, has got two components, vertical and horizontal, that is parallel to the plane and perpendicular to the plane. These red are perpendicular to the plane, blue are parallel to the plane. So, they pass through a polarizer. A polarizer is made up of tourmaline crystal. So, what it converts both the vectors, light vectors, in one particular direction only. Either it will allow vertical or horizontal component of the light depending on its polarizing capacity. See here, after passing through this polarizer, the light wave gets polarized. This is plane polarized. And again, to detect whether polarization has taken place or not, we use one analyzer of same type as that, but which can be rotated to see whether the wave coming out is vertically polarized or horizontally polarized. This is a process of polarizing and detecting and analyzing, where for analyzing we need another polarizer. For converting unpolarized light into polarized light, we need one polarizer, and for detecting it and for analyzing it, we need another one. By rotation, we can detect whether it is vertically polarized or horizontally polarized. This figure 3 shows the plane of polarization. Here, as usual, as in the previous case, unpolarized light passing through a polarized and it is coming out. Hence, this is a plane of polarization. So, the plane of polarization, the rays are blocked here. Then this is vertical. This yellow color is a plane of vibration. There are plane of vibration and plane of polarization. Hence, this is an analyzer. The analyzer, by rotation, we will know whether it is a vertically polarized or horizontally polarized. Hence, a plane perpendicular to plane of vibration is called plane of polarization. Polarization can take place only in transverse direction, that is that vertical component. Polaroid. Polaroid is a device used to produce the plane polarized light. It is a polarizing film mounted between two glass plates used to produce polarized light. A Polaroid is used to avoid glare of light in spectacles. Sometimes we are using Polaroid specs to avoid the glare of light in the spectacles. Uses of Polaroid. The windshield of automobile is made up of Polaroid. Such a shield protects the eyes of driver from dazzling light of approaching light. That means, when the opposite side vehicles put a dazzling light, it protects the eyes of the driver. The pictures taken by stereoscopic camera, when seen with the help of a Polaroid spectacles, create a three-dimensional effect. The three-dimensional effect of certain movies is formed due to Polaroid. Polaroids are used in sunglasses for protecting the eyes from glare. Polaroid is used in window panes of trains, aeroplanes to control the light entering through the windows. These are the uses of Polaroid. Malus law. A beam of plane polarized light is incident on an analyzer. The intensity I transmitted from analyzer is directly proportional to the square of the cosine angle theta between the planes of transmission of polarizer and analyzer. I is equal to I naught cos square theta. This is the angle. It is proportional to the square of the cosine of the angle. Double refraction. Double refraction. When unpolarized light is incident on a calcite or quartz crystal, it splits up into two refracted rays. One follows the laws of refraction called the ordinary ray or O ray, and the other does not follow the refraction called the extraordinary ray or E ray. This phenomena is called double refraction. Polarization by reflection. Brewster's law. When unpolarized light is incident on the boundary between two transparent media, the reflected light is polarized with its vector perpendicular to the plane of incidence. When the refracted and reflected rays make a right angle with each other. Thus, we have seen that when reflected wave is perpendicular to the refracted wave, the reflected wave is totally polarized, and the angle of incident in this case is called Brewster's angle, is denoted by the letter I suffix b. Therefore, the angle IB plus the refracted angle R is equal to pi by 2. Pi by 2, that is 90. Snell's law, we know from Snell's law, ratio of sin IB by sin R is equal to mu, that is mu is refractive index, that is equal to sin IB over sin R is nothing but pi by 2 minus R. From the angle, the trigonometrical ratios, we know sin R is equal to sin of 90 minus R. Therefore, that can be written as sin IB divided by cos IB, that is equal to tan IB. This is known as Brewster's law, that is mu is equal to tan IB is Brewster's law. Here you see this is an incident wave at an angle IB, that is Brewster's angle. When it is incident at Brewster's angle IB, it has got two components. One is refracted ray which bends towards the normal, and another one is reflected ray. Refracted ray is reflected back to the rarer medium. This is rarer media and denser media. So, media A and media B, and refractive index is mu. So, when the angle between the refracted ray and the reflected ray is 90 degrees, that this happens when the angle of incidence is Brewster's angle. What happens? I will read again this sentence. When unpolarized light is incident on the boundary between two transparent media, this is the unpolarized light is falling on the boundary between two transparent media. The reflected light is polarized. See, this is polarized. Reflected ray is polarized with its electric vector perpendicular to the plane of the incidence. This is perpendicular to the plane of incidence. When the refracted ray and reflected ray make at right angle to each other. This is the refracted ray and reflected ray, both are at 90 degrees. Thus, we have seen that when reflected ray is perpendicular to refracted ray, the reflected wave is totally polarized. The reflected ray is totally. This angle of incidence is called Brewster's angle, and it is given by IB plus R is equal to pi by 2, 90 degrees. Snell's law says mu is equal to sin IB by sin R equals to tan IB, that is equal to, that is called Brewster's law. Now let us quickly summarize wave optics. Huygens principle tells us that each point on wavefront is a source of secondary wave, which add up to give a wavefront at a later time. So from a point source, a wavefront becomes each source acts as a secondary wave, and it is called a wavefront. Huygens construction tells us that the new front is forward envelope of secondary waves. When the speed of light is independent of direction, the secondary waves are spherical, and the rays are then perpendicular to both the wavefront, and the time of travel is same measured along any ray. This principle leads us to well-known laws of reflection and refraction. That means with the help of Huygens principle, we can also prove reflection and refraction processes. The principle of superposition of waves applies whenever two or more sources of light illuminate the same point. Hence, we can apply and add the sources in amplitude and direction. When we consider the intensity of light due to these sources at a given point, there is an interference terms in addition to the sum of individual intensities. But the term is important only if it has a non-zero average, which occurs only if the sources have the same frequency and stable phase difference. That means superposition principle is applicable only when the waves have the same frequency and a constant phase difference. Young's double slit separation D gives equal spaced fringes of angular separation. That means there are two slits, and each width of each slit is D, gives equal spaced fringes of angular separation lambda by D. The source, midpoint of the slits and central brightness lie in the straight line. An extended source will destroy the fringes if it subtends angle more than lambda by D at slits. Hence, there are darker and brighter spots due to the angle of incidence. A single slit of width A gives diffraction. Just now we have studied A is the width of slit is A, and it gives a central maximum. The intensity falls to 0 at angles plus or minus lambda by A plus or minus 2 lambda by A. That is, at these angles there are darker spots with successively weaker secondary maxima in between. That is, in between central maxima and the darker and dark rings, it is the secondary maxima occurs. Diffraction limits the angular resolution of a telescope to lambda by D, where D is the diameter, capital D is the diameter. Two stars closer than this give strongly overlapping images. Similarly, a microscope objective subtends angle 2 beta at the focus in the medium of refractive index N. We will just separate two objects spaced at distance lambda divided by 2n sin beta, which is the resolution of the limit of microscope. Please note here the resolution of optical instrument has also been dropped from the syllabus of CBSE for the year 2020-21, but just we are mentioning for reference purposes. Diffraction determines the limitations of concept of light rays. A beam of width A travels a distance A square by lambda called the Fresnel distance before it starts to spread out due to diffraction. This natural light and other natural phenomena also have been dropped from the syllabus. I will read quickly for your knowledge purpose. Natural light example from sun is unpolarized. This means the electric vector takes all possible directions in the transverse plane rapidly and randomly during measurement. A Polaroid transmits only one component parallel to the special axis. The resulting light is called linearly polarized or plane polarized. When this kind of light is viewed through a second Polaroid whose axis turns through 2 pi, then two maxima and minima of intensities are seen. Polarized light can also be produced by reflection at special angles called Brewster angle and by scattering through 90 degrees or pi by 2 radians in Earth's atmosphere. Now we will quickly go through questions and answer in this section. Question number 1. Why a colored spectrum is seen when we look through a muslin cloth and not in other cloths? The answer is muslin cloth is made of very fine threads and as such fine slits are formed. White light passing through these slits gets diffracted, giving rise to colored spectrum. The central maxima is white while the secondary maxima are colored. This is because the position of secondary maxima except the central maxima depends on the wavelength of the light. In a coarse cloth, the slits formed between threads are wider and diffraction is not so pronounced. Hence, no such spectrum is seen in the coarse cloth. Question number 2. A parallel beam of light of wavelength 600 nanometer is incident normally on a slit of width A. If the distance between the slits and the screen is 0.8 meter and distance of second order maximum from the center from the screen is 15 mm, calculate the width of the slit. So, he has given all parameters, we have to just substitute it, we have to remember the formula and we have to substitute it. Difference between interference and diffraction. Interference is due to superposition of two distinct waves coming from two coherent sources. Diffraction is due to superposition of secondary wavelets generated from different parts of the same front. In the numerical example, lambda is equal to 600 nanometers. That is equal to 600 nano means 10 to the power of minus 9, 600 into 10 to the power of minus 9 or 6 into 10 to the power of minus 7 meters. D is equal to 0.8 meters, it is given, and x is equal to, that is the order maximum from the center of the screen is, second order maximum is x is equal to 15 mm, that is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters, and he is asking second order maximum, therefore n is equal to 2, and we have to find the value of A, that is the width of the slit. A is equal to, we know the formula, A is given by A is equal to n lambda by x, that values are given, n is equal to 2, lambda is equal to 6 into 10 to the power of minus 7 into 0.8 meters into 10 to the power divided by 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 3, that is equal to 6.4 into 10 to the power of minus 4 millimeter. This is the answer. Question number 3. Draw the diagram showing the intensity of distribution of light on the screen for diffraction of light at a single slit. How is the width of central maxima affected, increasing the wavelength of light used and width of the slit? What happens to the width of the central maxima if the whole apparatus is immersed in water, and why? This is the question asked in JEE and IIT entrance examination. So, answer. So, the diagram is shown here. This is central, this is the screen. We have shown it inverted horizontal. In the calculation theory portion, we have shown it vertically, but here we have shown it horizontal. This is screen and this is central maxima and this is I intensity. So, hence this is at theta is equal to 0, maxima occurs and this is the central maxima and this is the dark spot or dark fringe, and then again the secondary maxima is here followed by third, like this it is shown. Then the next part is how is the width of central maxima affected on increasing the wavelength. That means if you increase the wavelength, what happens? So, it is given by the width of central maxima is given by B naught is equal to 2y, that is equal to 2 lambda d by A. If you increase, what he says, wavelength is increased. If you increase the wavelength, what happens? So, if you increase the lambda, the width of the width also increases, width of the central maxima also increases. In the second case, he says we will put the entire apparatus in water. What will happen? So, when we put it in water, the wavelength decreases. That means here the lambda decreases, correspondingly the width of the central maxima also decreases. Hence, the width of central maxima also decreases. This is the answer. Question number 4. Why light waves do not diffract around buildings while the radio waves diffract? This is a very simple question. Light rays are not getting diffracted while the sound waves diffract and easily. Why it is happening like that? That means the one fundamental requirement of diffraction is the size of the wavelength of the incident wave should be equal to the size of this slit entrance. So, for diffraction, answer is for diffraction to take place, the wavelength should be of the order of the size of the obstacle. The radio waves, particularly short waves, have wavelength of the order of size of the building and other obstacles coming in their way. Hence, they easily get diffracted. Since the wavelength of light wave is very small, they are not diffracted by buildings. Question number 5. In Young's double slit experiment, the slits are separated by 0.28 millimeter and the screen is placed at 1.4 meters away. The distance between the central bright fringe and the fourth bright fringe is measured to be 1.2 meter. Determine the wavelength of the light used in this experiment. Please read this question again. I will give you some time and we will solve it. Given d is equal to 1.4 meters, small d is equal to 0.28 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. Fringe width is given as 1.2 meters, that is equal to 1.2 divided by 4, that is equal to 0.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. That is this 1.2 meter from the fourth fringe. Fringe width is equal to omega equals to capital D lambda by small d. So, we will calculate lambda, that is WD by capital D, that is equal to 0.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 into 0.28 into 10 to the power of minus 3 divided by 1.4, that is equal to 600 into 10 to the power of minus 9, that is equal to 600 nanometers. Question number 6. A screen is placed 5 meter from a single slit which is illuminated with 6000 Armstrong light. If the distance between the first and the third minima in the diffraction pattern is 3 mm, what is the width of the slit? Here d is equal to 50 centimeter, that is equal to half meter. Lambda is equal to 6000 Armstrong, that is equal to 6 into 10 to the power of minus 7. X is equal to 3 millimeter, that is equal to 3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. So, we have to find the value of A. For diffraction minima, A sin theta should be is equal to n lambda when theta is small, or Ax divided by d is equal to n lambda, or x is equal to n lambda capital D by small a. And substituting the values, we get x equals x3 minus x1 is equal to 3 lambda into d by a minus 1 lambda into d by a. Therefore, that is equal to 3 minus 1 is 2 lambda d by a, that is equal to 2 lambda. D by x is equal to 2 into 6 into 10 to the power of minus 7 into 1 divided by 2/3 into 3 into 10 to the power of minus 3. Therefore, that is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meters. Question number 7. State the condition under which phenomena of diffraction of light takes place. Derive an expression for the width of central maxima due to diffraction of light at a single slit. A slit with A is illuminated by a monochromatic light of wavelength 700 nanometers at normal incidence. Calculate the value of A for the position of first minimum at angle of diffraction of 30 degrees, second maximum at angle of diffraction of 30 degrees. Therefore, when a wave encounter an edge on obstacle or an aperture with a size comparable to the wavelength of the waves, those waves spread out as they travel and as a result undergo an interference. This is called diffraction. To derive an equation for width of central maximum, that is beta naught is equal to 2y, we have to consider the figure tan theta is equal to y by d, where theta is the angle of diffraction that is equal to y by d. Y is the position of the fringes, d is the space between the slit and the screen. For smaller values of theta is equal to y by d. Similarly, A sin theta, the path difference is equal to lambda. Therefore, for smaller values of theta is equal to lambda by A. Beta is equal to 2y, that is equal to 2 lambda capital D by small a, where A is the width and single slit, D is the distance between slit and the screen, lambda is the wavelength, and lambda is the distance between central bright and first dark fringe. Therefore, A is equal to lambda by sin theta, that is equal to 700 by sin 30, that is equal to 1400 nanometers. In the second case, for the secondary maxima, A should be equal to 3 lambda by 2, that is 3 half wavelength, 3 lambda by 2 into sin theta, that is equal to 3 into lambda is 700 in divided by 2 into sin 30. The answer is 2100 nanometers.